G'day viewers, how are you? Look, I'm doing a weekend edition of TFU because stuff, but here I am, and look, this is one of those things where I'm really happy that I did the video slightly later than I intended. Like, normally it's totally fucked up Friday, and I was kind of ready to go on Friday, and it didn't happen. But then there was some interesting stuff that happened or was confirmed on Saturday, and I still didn't do it. But then I really got some interesting stuff for Sunday. And so here I am, Sunday my time, probably still Saturday somewhere when this goes live. But what's come up is a bit of a dramatic story for a YouTuber that I've mentioned before. She's on YouTube known as Count Dankula, aka Fuckhead McHitler Dog, aka I'm going to prove how not bigoted I am by joining UKIP, aka I think a few people who actively defended him as making jokes kind of felt a bit fucking stupid when they found out that he was part of this alt-right bullshit that's just trying to normalise hate speech. But if none of that means anything to you, what happened a while back, he made a video where he said, as a joke, he got his dog to do the most his girlfriend's dog to do the most offensive thing he could think of, which is to give a little Hitler salute when he said gas the Jews. And he proceeds to say this 20 odd times in a video, and it's all, you know, just jokes. And it got him a lot of notoriety. Turns out it's got him a lot of money. But it also got him charged with a hate crime for anti-Semitism. Now, when I first talked about this, I actually said I thought that was stupid. I mean, I had public approbation for him, definitely. Not giving me off like, oh, it's just jokes when you're trying to normalise hate speech. But to call it an actual hate crime, to me, is belittling hate crimes. Particularly when you see the rise in anti-Semitic hate crimes around the world, up to and including murder. And yes, there is a valid case to be made that this normalising of hate speech is the first step along the way to radicalising people where they think attacking and vandalising synagogues is acceptable, right up to what happened in America, a guy shooting worshippers in a synagogue. There's a connection. You can't really say it's fuckhead's fault that someone put a swastika on a synagogue or shot up some Jewish worshippers, but there's a connection. There's a whole thread of people, through to the people who are just, you know, shitlord, I'm so edgy types, through to people whose political goal is to normalise hate speech. And this prick to say he's not part of that, I don't know if his bigotry is just so ingrained he can't even see it, or he's just playing the whole world for fuckwits. And given the amount of people who gave him credibility, the whole playing people for fuckwits kind of seems like a winning hand. But apparently he's got some sort of job with the BBC in Scotland. It might only be on their digital channel, it might not be on their broadcast channel, but it's led to newspaper headline, huge bold letters, BBC give TV job to Nazi hate criminal. Now, this in huge letters on a front page, even I think that's a hyperbolic sort of thing to do. Technically, there's nothing incorrect in that headline. He was convicted of a hate crime, so he's a hate criminal, and it was about use of Nazi terminology and imagery, the little salute, so technically it's accurate. It's just a bit over the top. And which bastion of political correctness, which bunch of social justice warriors, which anti-free speech snowflakes did this? The Daily Mail? The Daily Mail did this. I'm trying to process this, and all I can come up with is they hate the BBC more than they love pandering to bigots. Like, the idea that they wouldn't take the free speech line is really quite strange. And to make such a big deal out of it, I mean, I'll be honest here, I'm worried for Daily Mail readers. I'm worried they could have fatal bouts of cognitive dissonance as they try to balance BBC bad with free speech on top of everything. Don't be a snowflake. Don't be politically correct. You call everyone Nazis. Oh my God. At the very least, I think they're going to get whiplash as they whip back and forth between these two things. It's quite cruel of the Daily Mail, quite honestly. I've said they've done a lot of things wrong in the past. This seems just mean. This seems like they're just trying to fuck with people now, but well, we'll see how this goes if this gets whipped up in the broader media. I mean, honestly, a bit of it might be the general YouTube hate as well. You know, ever since the negative YouTube stories started coming out, you know, starting with PewDiePie and rolling on, a lot of mainstream media outlets seem really quick to jump on the YouTube hate. You know, the interesting bit, you know, the Momo stuff that came out, which turns out to not even be real, turned out to be a hoax. The idea that this Momo figure was showing up in kids' videos on YouTube telling kids to kill themselves. Yeah, there was a very weird app around it a while ago. But this particular bit of moral panic is apparently completely not true. Although I got a bit of a giggle during the week. The Fine brothers said on Twitter, like, oh yeah, we actually talked about Momo back when it was an app. And I thought, honestly, edgy humour and all, but this seems like an irresponsible thing to do a kids react to. Get those little preschoolers and get them in and show them Momo and see how they react. Now, as it turns out, it wasn't kids. It was either teenagers or young adults that they had reacting to Momo, not kids. But, honestly, gold! Comedy gold! Right, you want edgy comedy because you can get 2 videos out of it. Not just kids react to Momo, the absolutely terrifying app that tells you to do awful things. Then you can also have parents react to kids reacting to... Also, that's what happened to little Johnny. That's why he's in therapy. That's why he's writing in his own feces on the wall. Okay. Yeah, honestly, Fine brothers, I'm calling you out and saying you just don't have the guts to do it, okay? And yeah, so... fuckhead McKitler dog, maybe he's going to be the villain of the day. I'd say this will be forgotten right quick. I have no idea if there'll be enough pressure to make the BBC fold. Personally, I'm against giving pieces of shit like that a platform. I think it's fucked. I think it's the worst sort of both sides. So, no, certain sides are just so fucking contemptible, they don't deserve a platform. And when the whole thing is advancing bigotry and normalising hate speech, no, fuck that noise. But, you know, this seems like another out-of-scale moral panic to me. But we'll see what happens, won't we? Let's, look, while I'm stuck in this alternate reality of the Daily Mail being against people making Nazi jokes and not saying it's all free speech and just jokes and wake up you. So I don't even know if in this reality, the people in this dimension are used to seeing me. I hope I get back to my own dimension at some point and people see me there. No, I think even taking into account multiverse theory with infinite possibilities, I honestly think in the infinite multiverse, there's only one that's stupid enough to have Trump be US president. And that's the one I've been stuck in. Maybe I don't want to go there. Maybe I want to stay in this weird Daily Mail universe. I'm honestly not sure. But Australian politics is interesting as well. Coming up to the federal election, the date's still not announced. So it's gonna be sometime in April or May. Look forward to me doing a live stream and probably getting scuttered and laughing at their collapse. Because they continued to collapse. Like, I made a video a while ago, ooh, 4 of their ministers have resigned. 4 of their ministers, including a quite senior one, have gone, fuck this for a joke. When Julie Bishop, the foreign minister, just went, nope, screw this, I'm out. Why fight an election campaign that you're bound to lose? What's the point? What's the point of going through that pain? And fuck you all, I'm out. And 2 more did it this week. Like, and another senior one, Christopher Pine. It's just like, What the hell? That's 6 ministers, not 6 backbenchers, not 6 senators nobody's heard of. 6 ministers in the government have so little confidence in this government, they've just gone, fuck this, and they're jumping ship. They don't want the pain of a losing election campaign. I also found out, if they stayed on, they would take a big hit in their superannuation. They're ridiculously over-generous superannuation packages, to the extent, ministers in particular, if they ended up in opposition and stayed in opposition for a while, they could take hits each year they're in opposition. They're like losing $60,000 per annum from their super. That's how generous their super is. By the way, fun fact for people who don't know, and this is probably a lot of Australians don't know, but I think the rest of the world would be stunned. The Australian Prime Minister is paid more than the US President. That's just fucking ridiculous. Of course, it's the Prime Minister who voted himself that pay rise. And it just... How can these people... Well, they keep getting away with it. Why would you stop being a scammer when you can just get away with it? Like, there have been so many things in the last couple of months that just reek of corruption, if not outright criminal activity by ministers in this government. But they haven't been called to account. No one said you should answer for that. Why would you stop being a criminal if you just get away with it all the time? Now, Bishop's going in, you know what? I could have won the election. Instead of going for those guys on the hard right when they rolled Turnbull, which she was a Turnbull supporter, so she thinks shouldn't have happened anyway, she's gone, if they'd made me leader, which she did stand for, but got beaten soundly, I could have won the election. No, you couldn't have, because your party as a whole is such a fucking shambles. There's no saving it. She was admittedly... She's probably the most popular senior member of the party. That is a safe thing to say. She is more popular than Morrison, way more popular than Dutton, probably more popular than Turnbull, who got rolled. But translate that into win the election? I don't think so. I just don't think that's going to happen. So now with 6 ministers resigning, I've never seen this. I've never seen an actual government with its own members go, we have no faith in this whatsoever. We're fucking out. We're done. Washing our hands of you. Fuck it all. And they're all saying, oh, it's not because I think we're going to lose the election. It's just time to spend more time with my family. No, it's because you know this is fucking doomed and you're done. And the electorate sees this. There's still people in the media trying to spin, this is the good thing for Scott Morrison. No, it isn't. Scott Morrison doing a press conference going, I'm not bothered by this. Yes, he is! This is a whole bunch of people saying, you're fucked, man. You're fucked, and we're having nothing to do with it. And like I said, if and when they announce the election, when the night comes on, I am so there with a live stream for as long as it needs, for as long as I can stay conscious. And we will see. Kevin Logan said he'd join me again. We had a fun live stream recently, and he said he'd join me for an election one. So it would be Saturday night my time, which would be Saturday morning his time. So we could do that. So that could be something to look forward to. Because it's just a fucking nightmare. Look, I got to finish on something lighter. Although on the surface, maybe it doesn't sound like. There's a big case in Australia called Lawyer X they're referring to. What it was a major lawyer representing a whole bunch of crims in Melbourne. Melbourne's underworld. There was these gangland wars, mainly through the 90s and noughties in Australia, which on international scales is nothing. But, oh yeah, over a period of 20 years, 13 people got killed. There are probably gang disputes in the US that kill that many people in a weekend. But we thought it was a big deal that these mobsters were getting killed over a period of a decade or two. And for Australia, it was a big deal. But it turns out one of their lawyers had been a police informant. She just went and said to the cops, I'll tell you everything you're doing. There's a couple of reasons. You know, she said that she just couldn't deal with them anymore because they're scumbags who were playing the system. I don't think many people would argue with that. She also got paid a lot of money. How she's still alive, I don't know, because apparently several of the major crims knew it was her because it's the only way they were getting done for some of the stuff they got done for is someone on the inside. How she's still alive, I don't know. Apparently, she's been completely disowned by her family because she comes from a big name family. And it's a fun name, the family. The family name is Gobbo. Yeah. So, I just want to read this because, in and of itself, I think the name Gobbo is fairly funny. But I think the person from this newspaper thought, you know what's funnier than saying it once? Saying it a whole bunch of times. So, this is actually how they ran it in one paper, saying Nicola Gobbo's relatives distance themselves. Her uncle and former governor of Victoria, Sir James Gobbo, his wife, Lady Gobbo, and their 5 children, Jeremy Gobbo QC, Flavia Gobbo, Dr. Olivia Gobbo, Danny Gobbo, and James Gobbo, said, we've got nothing to do with her. Gobbo. It's just... Some words, when you say them repeatedly, they lose all meaning. But of course, Gobbo doesn't really mean anything to start with. But I just love, how many Gobbos can you fit into a paragraph? That many, apparently. Gobbo, 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 Gobbo. Gobbo.